Today, we're talking about what actually helps me to eat well with my MS and how to keep it simple. These are the tips that I wish I had when I was trying to change my diet to help me live well with my MS. Based on the research, I eat a predominantly whole food plant based diet to support my overall health and manage my MS symptoms. If you'd like to see more on that, I'm going to put a link to my playlist about food above and in the description below. The changes that I've made are not really that extreme. I've learned how to fuel my body with the most nutritious and delicious foods to help me manage my symptoms and stay healthy. These tips and tricks will help you to improve your diet and help you to live well with your MS too. They'll make eating healthy easy and you won't struggle with what to eat. I promise that if you follow these tips and suggestions, that you'll improve your overall health and live better with your MS. Sound good? I will also create a free download for you with these tips that will magically appear on the screen right here during editing. Our first thing I did was to stop eating processed foods. Foods that come in packages with long lists of ingredients are not healthy, despite what the claims are on the front of the package. They also many times have been stripped of the beneficial parts of the food, like fiber. Researcher Michael Pollan distilled it down to this: eat real foods, not too much, mostly plants, in his book, In Defense of Food, which I'll link below if you'd like to check it out. When he said real foods, he meant foods in their natural state. Look for foods with one ingredient, like strawberries or peppers or beans. Eating this way can also help us to keep the calorie count down. Plants naturally are less calorie dense than meats or processed foods. Next is I try not to use added oil in my cooking. I don't cook with oil and I rarely add it to my foods. First, oils are calorie bombs. There are on average between 120 and 130 calories per tablespoon. And many of us with chronic illness struggle with our weight because of fatigue or inability to move or for other reasons. Eliminating oils can drastically reduce our calorie intake. Most people use 1 to 2 tablespoons of oil to saute with, so that's about 250 calories right there. And we use oils in sauces and dressings too. We pour it all over our salads and our foods. Do you know how many calories we're adding to our foods by just adding a tablespoon here and a tablespoon there throughout the day? It can really add up. Oils can also break down with age and become rancid. Just sitting on the shelf can cause them to oxidize and become inflammatory. And living with an inflammatory disease, the last thing we need is inflammation. Instead of sauteing in oil, try to dry saute and add a little liquid as the veggies start to stick. I use a bit of water or broth or wine or soy sauce, and it works great. When we add the small amount of liquid, it deglazes the pan too, so the caramelized bits get lifted off and mixed in with the food, adding a ton of flavor. Oils are also considered to be highly processed because they strip away the nutrients and the fiber from the foods. Instead, just eat the whole food. Eat the olives, eat the avocados. Next is try to eat your meals at home. I know that occasionally we're going to eat out, but if we try to eat most of our meals at home, we're going to make healthier choices. We'll also save a lot of money by eating at home. Don't beat yourself up if you occasionally eat out, but do try to choose the healthier options from the menu. A couple of ways to eat healthier at restaurants is to ask for steamed vegetables instead of sauteed, or ask them not to put bread on the table. And also look at the side dishes to make a meal from. My husband and I go to a local Mexican restaurant, and we ordered a baked potato or rice, steamed broccoli, and beans from the side dishes, and we top it with their fresh salsa. It's amazing. Or I'll often look at the entree section of a menu and ask for a mix of sides from the entrees. I've had some truly amazing meals that way. Most restaurants are happy to make a meal like that because they already have the food in the kitchen. Next is to experiment with new fruits and vegetables. We can get into a rut of eating the same 7 to 10 meals over and over again, and it can get boring. There are over 20,000 kinds of edible plants out there. I invite you to go through the produce section of your grocery store and pick up new and different foods each week to try. One of the advantages of eating a large diversity of plants is getting a lot of different kinds of fiber. This helps our guts to be healthy with a good microbiome. Next is to experiment with flavor. My holy trinity of spices is salt, pepper, and garlic, but there are dozens of flavors to try. There are Asian flavors and Greek, Cajun, Indian, French, Mediterranean, Middle Eastern, and more. I'll include a list of flavor combinations on the handout for my Simply Nutritious 15 incredibly easy to prepare plant-based meal plans ebook of spice blends that you can try. I encourage you to use a few spices from each category and see which ones that you like the best. Did you know that I wrote a cookbook? I did. It has 15 super easy and really nutritious meal plans for you to try, and I'll link it below if you'd like to check it out. Adding flavor makes our meals so tasty and encourages us to eat healthier. And if you don't have a large variety of spices in your spice drawer, you can get blends at your local spice shop. No local spice shop? You can order them online from a place like Penzeys Spices. They have amazing spices and blend combinations, and I'll drop a link in the description below for you to check out. Another way to add flavors that's super easy is to have healthy, ready-to-use flavorings on hand, like sriracha sauce, or Frank's Red Hot, or low-sodium soy sauce, or tahini, or salsa, or nutritional yeast, or balsamic flavored vinegars or other flavored vinegars. Adding these to foods perks up the flavors and makes our foods taste amazing. You can even combine them to make your own amazing sauces. The next tip is to make enough for leftovers or to freeze. Let's face it, cooking takes energy and sometimes we just don't have it. Having leftovers for lunch the next day or something that we can pull out of the freezer to heat and eat is so easy. I often make big batches of soups and stews and casseroles so that we can have leftovers. It's great for those days where MS fatigue zaps my energy, and it helps to keep me from getting takeout or going out to restaurants where I don't know exactly how they're preparing the food and where I may not make the healthiest choices. Next is to never run out of your staple foods. We keep our kitchen stocked with some of the things that we use all the time, like a good variety of beans, like cannellini beans, black beans, kidney beans, and black-eyed peas. We also have a variety of canned tomato products like ground tomatoes and diced tomatoes. I also make sure that I have roasted peppers on hand too. Oh, and with the canned goods, try to get non-BPA lined pans and low sodium or no sodium added when you can to keep them healthier. We also keep a lot of grain on hand too, like brown rice, quinoa, farro, barley, lentils, and bulgur wheat. These are staples in many of my dishes. We always make sure that we have 2 to 3 of each on hand at all times. When we get down to one, we add them to the grocery list. Next is to use shortcuts in the kitchen. When we live with chronic illness, we may not be able to do all the food prep every day, or we don't want to use our limited energy on food prep, am I right? Using shortcuts is a great way to save energy. Get the tools that help making prep a breeze. One of my favorite food prep items is my food chopper. This makes chopping and slicing and grating veggies so fast with very little effort, and I'll put a link to it below. I also love my Instant Pot. It is the ultimate in dump cooking. Just dump in the ingredients, lock the top, hit the button, and walk away. I use it for soups and stews and cooking rice and beans, and I'll also link it below. Another great shortcut is to get pre-cut fruits and vegetables. Put them in the refrigerator and they're ready to eat. Or use frozen pre-cut fruits and veggies. These are great in soups, stews, casseroles, and as side dishes or in smoothies. Or get bite-sized foods like berries, so there's no prep. Simply rinse them and put them in the bowl and they're ready to eat, and they're so healthy. My next tip is it's not about perfection. Yes, I try to eat well as much as I can, but it's okay not to be perfect. If we eat something that's not 100% healthy, it's important not to beat ourselves up about it and say, well, this is just too hard, or I'm not strong enough to eat this way. Give yourself some grace. One meal or one day is not typically going to cause us to relapse or progress or increase our symptoms. Well, unless we have a food sensitivity or allergy. If you're consistently eating healthy most of the time, that's great. I remember when I was first diagnosed, I sought the advice of a nutritionist and I asked her, how good do I really need to be? And she said, aim for 90% and see how you feel. So that's what I do. I eat good 90% of the time and I give myself grace the other 10%. It's okay if I occasionally have French fries or potato chips. Just be careful not to let it become a habit and let yourself increase these less healthy choices. We need to be accountable to ourselves. One of the tricks that I use is I say to myself, nothing tastes as good as being healthy feels. And next is to keep it simple. Kaiser Permanente, the insurance company, has a brochure about eating plant-based that recommends this. Fill half your plate with non-starchy vegetables, 1/4 with starchy veg or grains, and 1/4 plant-based protein. I'll try to find the link and I'll put it below too. In fact, most of the meals in my cookbook are based on this. It makes planning really easy. Keeping meals simple also cuts down on time. Many of the meals that I make take only 20 to 30 minutes to prepare and cook. Like I said earlier, we don't have extra energy to waste on food prep, so the goal is to keep it simple. Using whole, real foods with added flavors is the easiest way to keep cooking simple. So these are my tips for eating healthy and to help us live well with our MS. I invite you to implement these tips into your kitchen and eating plan. Check out the link below for the free handout. Let me know if you're going to implement any of these tips or if you have tips of your own to share. I love to hear from my viewers. Please be sure to like this video, subscribe, and share these videos with others because it really helps the channel. Thanks. And until next time, be well.